Great.
All right, try this again.
Okay, now we see it.
All right. Whew. Okay. All right, so I'm Kim. Most of you know me at this point. I'm going to talk about some of the normal ACT numbers and facts and figures that I usually share with you, and then get into some of the things you have to look forward to this year. So this is a current representation of what our network is looking like. This is all of the map on the right is all of the active receivers that we have in the water within the last 2 years. So some may have come out since then, or some new ones might have come in that haven't been processed yet. Of course, each of the different colors represents a different array or PI that manages them. So we have about 184 projects in the network. There's, over 200 of you and over 100 different institutions represented. We had a lot of tags that went in during the last data push, so that really jumped us up. So currently we have a total of over 13,000 tags, and almost 6,000 of them are currently active and swimming around. We know that there's more out there. Offshore wind has a lot of work going on. And one of the images I have in a couple of slides will kind of show that we're still not capturing some of that stuff. And I know a lot of you are still getting some on-match detections, but we're still growing and lots of new stuff's going in the water every data push. 79 species are represented. Surprisingly, to me anyway, a lot of top of those are some of the elocids. So alewife and blueback herring were some of the highest numbers and almost beating out some of our shark species. And the last data push, we had 61.6 million match detections. A lot of you have seen this similar chart graph before. So the total detections on the y-axis and the data pushes along the x. And then I added in the number of transmitters that have been added every data push. So the dark blue are the match detections, that 61.6 million. And then the unmatched is that lighter blue color. So we're matching at about, I think, a little less than 50%. I think it's like 40 something. And as we, keep getting more data in the database, that number is gonna, the number of match detections will keep getting bigger, and that number of unmatched will get smaller. But we'll never be zero just because of like just false pings and things like that. So you can see the rate at which the number of tags have been added. So this is a slide that, so after the data push is complete, OTN puts together a push summary, and then I have a couple slides just showing you some of those graphs, more so to toot my own horn, if you will. But this graph is showing some of those unqualified detections or unmatched detections and sort of what arrays are picking them up. So you can see in some of the recent years, a lot of these are coastal, so it's probably a lot of things going on with offshore wind and tags getting put in the water that we're not hearing about. Some of the early years, we don't have many projects. Bill's lab has got a lot of this data in. You'll see that these are the pink ones for DMFAN. And we just don't have a lot of tag data in from early on, or even a lot of the early receiver historical records. And you can sort of see how it splits out. And then this is just how we're doing as a node against some of the others. Or with some of the others. So the last data push was a very big one. And we were kind of second for the number of issues. As a reminder, issues aren't like issues or problems, they're tickets. So we track our whole workflow through GitHub, and they're just called issues. And then the graph on the right is just looking at all of the data pushes that we've done since our inception. The really big one is the time that we went and we changed all of our collection codes from the proj numbers to actual collection codes. That makes sense. So that was kind of an outlier, but you can see how much they've been growing since then. And then some updates. So the push schedule for this year is going to be exact same as last year. So February 1st, June 1st, October 1st. So the February 1st is in about 12 business days, just as a reminder. I encourage some of you to hang out with me this afternoon for questions. It'll be very casual. If you have questions or just need to dedicate some time to work on things, I know that I do. So yeah, it'll be very similar to last year's course schedule. The student award is launching. The website is live. If you want to scan that QR code, you'll get an email later today or tomorrow with that information. I encourage you to please pass that on to your student. So that is open now until February 15th. We raised just over $2,000 in 2024 from the silent auction we did at our in-person meeting in June and a private donation. And then Maricus is offering to match those funds. So we plan to give awards to 4 students at least. So please share those around. I will be sending a bunch of reminders until that deadline. In the fall, we're gonna plan on doing another in-person meeting. We're thinking September, October. I know some of the universities in the steering group mentioned October is usually better just based on school schedules. So more information will be coming on that. We'll be looking to like narrow down some dates and then come up with a venue and location. In 2024, we had our first publication to OBIS. So if you would like to see what that was, you can scan that QR code. Connie kind of briefly touched on this, but OBIS is one of the places you can have your data go for archiving. It also helps contribute, data managers and, NOAA goes in there to help come up with the management plan. So this is a good way to, actually archive your data. And some of you have probably gotten those emails about archiving data and permissions to get the data published. So Nathan Pierce's project got pushed up, and we have a couple more maps that are definitely going in 2025. So more coming on that in the future as well. Some of those pipelines are getting finalized. And then more things coming up in 2025. As you all know, we got a new logo, yay. Hopefully everybody likes it. By the voting, it seems like this was kind of a unanimous decision. So I will be sending out sort of a package at some point with logo files. We built a color scheme just to have, I tried using it throughout this presentation. And yeah, so we've got, more of a banner style logo and then a thumbnail version to shorten it for when you need just a little shorter thing. So those files will be coming out shortly as well. Thanks to Amy. And Matt briefly touched on it. We are getting a new website. No, not a database portal for Matos, but a new website for the ACT Network, which will be more modern, be more streamlined, and hopefully just have better information on it than the old Google site did. So I'm going to share some screenshots of what that'll look like. But once that launches, we'll probably do more of a launch party at the in-person meeting in the fall. So this is the landing page. As you'll come to it, you'll notice that the first thing off the get-go is the user agreement and then a link that will go back to Matos, which we're going to strip down and take out all of the extra stuff. So it's literally just a place to go log in and load up your data. And then some quick snapshots at the bottom of some facts. And then one of the other pages in there will be the spotlight page, which Matt talked about a little bit. So we are going to be bringing on a communications intern in 2025, either summer or fall. And we want to highlight you. We want to highlight the work you're doing. And we're going to do that through this page. So we're going to have them write some blog posts. So we'll be reaching out to you to highlight some of your work. Or please reach out to us if you have things you want highlighted. And then one of the other tabs besides the direct link on the homepage will be the data portal. So here, some information about the data portal, another link to it. The templates will be able to be accessed also directly from that website. And you can see some of these photos are photos that I've gotten from you, and then others are just stock photos. So I had sent out an email sometime in the fall looking for photos to a couple people, but please send over photos of you doing cool work. I know you're taking the photos, everybody does. So send them my way and I can keep them in a log and we can hopefully replace some of these stock images. And then I just wanted to remind you of your leadership team. So, Matt and Beth has joined us and she's been our offshore wind coordinator. And then we do have a steering committee. Those people are listed and they've helped us, come up with some of these decisions. We've had a lot of conversations about the user agreement, and that all has happened with this team. And with that, I could take a couple questions if there's time. I'll stop sharing so that I can actually see people.
Hey Kim, this is Kimmy from the Atlantic Shark Institute. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Beautiful. All right, I'm in my car because I'm driving to work, but I wanted to be involved, so I just want to make sure that everything sounded all right. But first of all, congratulations to everybody on this being the biggest push, this last fall push. That's really exciting news for data. And I just had a couple small questions. One, the student funding that you're discussing earlier in the previous slides.
Yep.
Is that specifically for undergraduate, graduate student work? Is there a particular thing that you're looking for those students?
Yeah, so it's mainly undergraduate or graduate, either active or graduated within a year. And then one of the goal is that either they're already doing acoustic telemetry and hoping to present at a conference, or they are maybe wanting to get into acoustic telemetry and haven't had opportunities to do that yet. So the goal is to send them to a conference so that they could actually meet people and network with others doing acoustic telemetry or relevant type work. But yeah, we have a whole page right up that will go out with a lot more information.
Perfect. All the slides are going to go out as well at the end of the conference today?
Yeah, so this meeting is being recorded. We probably should have said that in the beginning. Sorry. And usually I will then link the recordings to the agenda. So then you can, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can watch what parts you are interested in focusing on.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, nice to know. Good. Besides that, we might have some cool shark pictures for you in regards to the new ACT website.
Love it.
I'll have to talk to John about it and see what we got going on, but maybe we can get you some of those. And
Love it.
What else? I was going to ask about the large number of what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh.
Unmatched.
Yes, unmatched detections. Is there any thought that, because I know the array goes all the way pretty much down to Florida and everything, are we expecting to see, would any of those detections be international tags, is what I'm wondering.
So we do, I know that we get matches, so that, I guess they could be. But most of those networks that are like the ETN, for example, are also an OTN compatible node in a way.
Okay.
So if your tags went over there, you might have gotten these files that are called partner matches ETN. I forget exactly the name. So those are hey, your shark swam across the whole Atlantic over to Europe. Maybe this is your tag. And I am assuming that it goes both ways. Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I doubt it, but sure, anything is possible.
Yeah. Yes. I was just curious. I don't know if there was any kind of difference in the, the language and the tag numbers or anything like that. But yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Yep. They're using the same equipment that we're using.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I should confirm over audio since you're on the phone, but yeah, we do cross-checking with the mystery tags and detections from Europe right now. And they're going to become a fully compatible node this year, the secret fourth node that's coming online this year. So we will be able to resolve those detections on an ongoing basis, and you'll know that you've matched something, and you won't count it as a mystery tag.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Kimmy. All right. I think that's enough of me. So let's hear from Jordan Katz.
Hey, Kim. Thanks for having me. And sorry, everyone. I'm in the office and we have a curtain that's just the sun is directly on my face right now. So if it's hard to see me, I apologize. Let's get that sharing up and see how that is going. Yeah, zebra mode. Exactly. All right. How's that look, Kim?
Yeah, looks good.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everyone, and thanks again to Matt, Kim, and Beth for having me here today to talk about the RWSC Acoustic Telemetry Receiver Map Layer. I actually introduced this idea to the ACT community at the in-person meeting earlier this year. So today I'll be providing you all with a status update. If you are a member of the subcommittee or you're following along with subcommittee activities, this is going to be very familiar, so I apologize for the repetition. But we wanted to make sure that the rest of the ACT community stayed up to date with subcommittee activities, especially one that has been so closely coordinated with ACT itself. So for those of you who are not aware, the RWSC launched a research planning map in July, or maybe it was June. I think it was June. The map was funded by BOEM at the request of numerous stakeholders to facilitate research planning and provide better coordination for offshore wind and wildlife science. The map can be accessed at rwsc.org/map or just via the RWSC website. There's a tab for map. The picture here up on the screen is kind of just a jumble of all different types of layers, but you can pick and choose what you want symbolized by adding or removing active layers. The map has also ingested all of the Northeast Ocean data portal layers, so you'll be able to pull up anything that you normally see there on the RWSC map. And if you're interested in more details about the map functions, the RWSC hosted a webinar, and that webinar is available on the website as well. And I spoke to you guys earlier this year about the science plan and the offshore wind and wildlife database. So I'm not going to go into detail about those resources, but just as a reminder, both can be accessed on the RWSC website. And it was through the development of these resources and subcommittee discussions that it became clear that an overwhelming majority of projects regarding protected fish and offshore wind, as well as many of the research recommendations put forth in the science plan, utilized acoustic telemetry as a data collection method, whether there be a primary data collection method or an additional data collection method, amongst other things. So as you are all aware, there is already an existing extensive acoustic telemetry network consisting of regional nodes that extend not only the entire Atlantic coast, which is what the RWSC covers, but all over the globe. So in our region, coastally, of course, we have ACT-MATOS, which is the reason we're all here today. And we have the OTN and the FAC network to the south and many more inland as well. These regional nodes are the backbone of acoustic telemetry collaboration and are an essential resource for acoustic telemetry research, as you guys all know. So the subcommittee has provided recommendations that all entities utilizing acoustic telemetry for offshore wind and wildlife research participate both actively and openly in their regional network, and we continue to make that recommendation in all of our documents and discussions. But it was through an earlier workshop and many conversations with the subcommittee and industry members that we found that not all of the acoustic telemetry projects funded specifically for offshore wind were participating in the regional networks, but would be interested in sharing their receiver locations with the RWSC. And these stakeholders reiterated that knowing current and planned receivers, particularly near those wind energy areas, will allow entities to improve their planning process and foster collaboration between organizations and even within organizations amongst different groups. So that set us up for the development of this map layer, which I'll get into. We got to work with ACT, the OTN, and the FACT network, who, as I mentioned, and you guys all know, are the leaders in our regional acoustic telemetry space, as they have each gone through, similar data wrangling processes before. We all want to provide resources that benefit the acoustic telemetry community and, of course, the fish as well. So each regional node, pictured here, was able to work with their members and existing user agreements to share with us receiver locations that were already public facing, or ask for explicit permission for projects that were not already available to the public. And for receivers from projects not public facing or not participating in the regional nodes, um, I did some research and contacted a lot of individuals. And I just want to thank everyone who is involved in this process, particularly the nodes, ACT, FACT, OTN teams, and their participating members. So a lot of people on this call. And I saw your new logo. Looks great. And I'll have to replace the logo here on the slide. All right, so the map, like I said before, is going to be on the RWSC website, but as I'm getting coordinates, I'm just putting them into ArcGIS as well so that I can provide status updates like I am doing for you guys now. So on the left here, we have visualized all of the currently active and planned receivers that I've gotten so far. So this includes receivers from ACT, from the OTN, as well as separately collected receivers. And just a note is that we are working with the FACT network, but we do not have their information just yet. So the Southeast region is a little bit bare, but those are coming in very shortly. So it'll be a little bit more filled in. And so again, we're developing this map in response to what's going on in our region, but continue to recommend full, open, and active participation in these regional nodes. And with that in mind, I just wanted to show everyone receivers that are not currently available on the maps provided by the regional nodes. And so a visualization of what we are currently going to be able to provide additionally to offshore wind and wildlife stakeholders. And that is what you can see now on the right. It's zoomed in on the southern New England and northern mid-Atlantic region. And this shows receivers that are not currently visible on those network maps. And there are many different possibilities for a receiver that falls into that category. So one example, I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but these pink receivers on the bottom were uploaded to Axmatos, but will not appear on their public facing map until the next data push, which Kim reminded everyone is in February. So it's coming up very soon. But until then, we're going to have them visualize. And this is just an example. So obviously, this isn't going to go live. So those will be moved before, but this is just an example. So until then, we'll have them visualized and noted as an active participant of Axmatos. But when that next data push comes through, it'll be listed with the other ACT projects. So other examples are planned and proposed projects that have or haven't been submitted yet, and other projects that do not participate in any regional network. And there's going to be, I'll go into the metadata a little bit later, but you'll be able to see every receiver and whether or not they participate in one of the regional nodes. So again, these are all going to be visualized together on the live map. I just wanted to give the network members a little bit of information about what else is out there. With this zoomed in image or zoomed out view, it might not seem like it, but there's 857 receivers. So there's a lot, and it's going to be pretty helpful for offshore wind research planning. And the asterisk next to the 857 is because that number is always in flux. Like I said before, projects that are submitted to ACT but not yet shown are counted here, but they're going to be removed at the time of the next data push. Same with the FACT network. We don't have them yet. So when we get those, some of these on the right are going to be removed. So yeah, that number is always in flux. And I just wanted to reiterate, this is a draft layer, and there still needs to be some QA, QC, particularly with the best way to symbolize the receivers from the OTN, some of the regional nodes. So these images are not fully accurate and shouldn't be used as such, just draft. So some additional features will be the planned track lines of recurring projects, utilizing mobile receivers or gliders outfitted with receivers. To the right, we have an example from Charles Flagg's project from Stony Brook. And we've also worked with the RWSC Marine Mammal Subcommittee to incorporate all the passive acoustic monitors that are co-located with acoustic telemetry receivers. So you can really see that this is a collaborative effort with, the regional nodes and other groups as well. In addition to the points, each receiver is going to have a pop-up box with project information that appears when you click on a receiver. So this will allow stakeholders to learn a little bit about each project and then contact the researchers if they want additional information which can support regional collaboration. So the subcommittee and other meeting attendees discussed and decided upon this list of associated metadata that will best help them in offshore wind and wildlife research planning. So if you operate a receiver that you did not see on the map, even though it was kind of hard to see because it was pretty zoomed out, but you would like to see it on the map, this is great news. The process of doing so is going to be a little different depending on your project. So if you already participate in Act Matos, which I'm assuming a lot of you do, and your project is set to public, there's no action required. If your project is in Act Matos but not set to public, please email them and request that your receiver locations be shared with the RWSC for inclusion. And just a reminder, for any project not set to fully public, the ACT team requires explicit project permission to share anything with us. If you participate in the FACT network, email Joy, who you'll hear from later today, and request the Google form link, which is how they are collecting information on who and what to share with us. And then the last category is if you do not participate in any regional OTN compatible node. If you do fall into this category, of course, we do recommend that you change that course of action. But in the meantime, you can please email us directly with your receiver locations and associated project information. And for all correspondences, the addresses are shown on the slide here, and please CC me as well. And we'll accept the information in any form, but we do recommend using the Matos templates, which are not only excellent, but also available for public download. You all probably know this, being ACT Matos members, but you go to the Matos website, you click Submit Data, click Metadata Templates, and then the Matos loading instructions hyperlink, which will bring you to a Google Sheets document. And the correct form is called Template ACT Instrument Metadata, which is shown by the orange arrow there. And that is it. Thank you again to the ACT team for having me here today and for the continued partnership. Please reach out if you have any questions or comments and send over any receivers that you did not see symbolized on that draft layer. You can all stay up to date with subcommittee activities on the RWSC website, and our next meeting, which is open to the public, they all are, is Friday, February 21st from 1 to 3.
Thanks, Jordan. We can do a quick